Ah, okay. Good morning to all the participants. My name is Umesh Chandrasekhar. Today's topic is a very exhaustive topic. In fact, it requires a couple of days of workshop face to face to really get value out of this. Nevertheless, we will try to relate various issues of audits and what are the key points and what are some best practices examples I will share with you during the presentation. The plan is that the presentation will run till about 11:30 or 11:40. Hello? We will start and we will finish at about 11:45 or so, and we'll have 15 minutes for the question answer session. We aim to close by 12 o'clock. I will now request my colleague to introduce me to you. Yes, please go ahead, Chitra.
Yes, sir. Good morning to one and all. I'm Chitra from PS Quality Certification Private Limited, Chennai. Welcome you all for today's session. We have 20 years of legacy of operations. We provide advisory support to higher education institutes across the nation for getting accreditation under NAC, NBA and NRF ranking too. We provide advisory support to HEIs in obtaining the deemed university status and complying with other statutory requirements. Also, we do advisory support in getting certification for various ISO standards, green, energy and environmental audit and academic administrative audit. We provide training for NABL, NABH and quality tools. Also, we conduct FDP for faculties and value-added courses for students of HEIs. We also support HEIs in entering MOUs, securing consultancy funding, and establishing tie-ups with international universities. PSQC is a well-established professional research and development organization supported by highly qualified, devoted, and experienced professionals focuses on achieving quality. For today, complimentary webinars on academic administrative audit best practices by Dr. Umesh Chandrasekhar. We are honored to introduce our expert speaker, Dr. Umesh Chandrasekhar, a highly respected academic and trainer and consultant in the field of quality assurance and higher education strategy. Dr. Umesh Chandrasekhar is a seasoned academic and industry professional with a rich career spanning journalism, international business, and management education. A former associate of the Times of India, he brings a rare blend of media acumen and corporate experience to the classroom, having worked in international sales and marketing across the UK and the United States. Dr. Chandrasekhar has held distinguished academic positions at institutions such as PSG, Institute of Management, and is currently a visiting professor at the Kirloskar Institute of Management, Pune, where he continues to shape the next generation of business leaders. A strong advocate of quality and excellence in higher education, he carries deep expertise in accreditation frameworks and outcome-based educations, having worked extensively with bodies such as ACBSP, Accreditation Council for Business Schools and Programs, NBA, National Board of Accreditations, and NAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council. With this unique combination of global industry, exposure, and academic rigor, Dr. Chandrasekhar brings both real-world perspective and institutional depth to every engagement. Once again, I'm happy to welcome you, sir. You can take over the session now.
Thank you very much for the long introduction. I must also forewarn my participants that this session is being recorded and being live cast into the YouTube channel as per the PSQ's requirements. Okay, so let us try to understand what we're trying to do today. See, in the current point of time, academic administrative audits are becoming much and much more complicated because there is shifting accreditation requirements. So what I've tried to do is that I have tried to interface what we assume to be the new NAC criteria and work back from there stepping on two boats, the present NAC and the new NAC criteria, and then trying to create an amalgam of best practices and audit requirements, which will not only meet the NAC, it will also meet a part of the NBA requirement. It will also guide you towards NEP 2020, and apart from that, it also will reinforce those institutions who are planning to go for ISO 21001, 2018, and in the coming months 2025. And if you're intending to go for ISO 21001 in the coming months or whatever it is, this would be useful for you. And again, to reiterate, this is a very, very quick, very, very concise, very, very fast running presentation, because normally this requires substantive training and documentation processes. Nevertheless, we will try to provide you a bird's eye view, and of course, my colleagues at PSQ will be happy to assist you further. And I, in my own limited capacity, will try to answer some questions if I can, and or we can share and we can commonly answer the question. And I would love some confirmation once in a while to make sure that I am broadcasting and I am live and you can hear and see what I'm trying to state today. Otherwise, I will not know. I'll keep on talking and we'll be lost. So once in a while, when I ask for a reaffirmation, somebody can either say yes, coming online, or somebody can just chat and say yes or fine. And you can ask questions during the presentation, and I'll take pauses and deal with the questions as and when I can. I hope that is clear. All right. So what is the basic flow of the presentation? The flow of the presentation, I'll try to discuss a bit about the new NAC revised framework. And I've got some idea about the autonomous institutions. So I will focus to an extent to that. And I will then move on to the indicative criteria assessment. And I'll then move on to the academic audit, administrative audit sample. Then I'll go to pre-audit practices. Then I'll go for documentation. Then I'll try to tell you how to identify key gaps. And then I'll close the presentation with a set of smaller tasks to be done, what I call the Bible requirements. That way you'll have a pretty good overview. Okay, so the new NAC, again, I reiterate, nothing is, it's all written in water. We have no evidence to say it will happen or not happen. And the current education minister is in a lot of difficulties with CBSE and with NEET. So, and with all these things happening. So I do not think the NAC, the new criteria is going to happen anytime too soon. At least not in the coming quarter, to my understanding. Nevertheless, NBA continues. Nevertheless, other accreditations will continue. Okay, so with this context, let me start my basic detailing of what I want to do. So the new framework, if you're not aware of, I'm just recapping it here. I mean, it's a binary system, like it's got 10 criteria, and it has actually got 9 plus 1 or 10, which is the one is unique. So 10 criteria. Then each criteria has got specific weightages. IQAC's role has become substantive and continuous, and periodically has to be done effectively to create data and evidence. Digital evidence is very, very important. Social media presence, web presence, updates, Facebook, LinkedIn, the whole lot what you want to do, including the local media, digital media, the whole lot what you want to do is extremely critical. As you know, it is basically through AI processes that they will evaluate the first level of application. And there is a peer review, which is a desk review, and there can be an on-site peer review. Please don't assume that, just because you're doing online and NAC has said, you'll get it. No. If there's a query, if there's a doubt, they will also go for a peer team visit. Please understand that. And again, depending on what stage of maturity you are, the parameters will change, or the outcomes will change, or the requirements will change. Okay. So this is a quick slide I'm just sharing with you. What has happened is that the framework from the A classification, B classification has now gone into 1, 2, 3 level and not accredited. So the baseline is basically, what I say, level 1 is 400, 550 points you score. Level 2 is 1 level. Level 3 is 1 level. So the maturity level goes on after that. Then I got nascent, emerging, developing, advanced, and leading. So if you're already in NAC A plus or A plus plus, obviously if you are going for accreditation, you should go for advanced or leading. That is a given matter of understanding. Now, let me just briefly also show you the input process output mechanism, which the NAC is currently, we understand. And this is for an autonomous college example I have taken. Because I don't have details. I'm fairly confident for autonomous college that this is what they will follow, for the simple reason that this is based on a EQF model. It's also a lot of similarity with NBA requirements. So there is a input process output. And of that, if you notice the entire scoring, item number 11 is uniqueness and situatedness, which is a different thing. We will not deal with it. It's an extended attribute. Very, very important. But in terms of our audit requirement, I think what we need to really also understand are the heavyweight points. So those in red, which is criteria number 5, 6, 8, and 10, they are accounting to almost 15 plus 13 plus 37.5% plus 13. Almost 50%, 60% is based on these 5 criteria. So the first point of audit is that the rigor has to be substantive for these red item criteria. Am I clear, or am I confusing, or am I too fast? Can somebody give me a feedback, please? Yes, Lakshmi?
So it's okay, sir.
Sir,
All
Thank you,
right.
sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am grateful to
sir,
you.
I think it is little. Yes, sir, it is a little bit faster, sir. Please, will you please go a little bit slow, sir?
If I go too slow, I'll have trouble, but I will try. We will do what we can do.
But this is the opportunity for us to interact
Yes,
with you, sir. We don't want to lose it.
No, no, no. On the contrary, I will give you half an hour later. Don't worry about it. I'm there with you. So this is the
No,
framework.
to understand.
Yes, yes, of
Yeah,
course.
slides are a lot of information is there in the slide, but we need some time to understand that.
Right,
Please.
right. Okay, understood. No issues.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So this is
Thanks.
this is the autonomous map for the new NAC criteria. Yes, Lakshmi ma'am. Okay, that's done. So this is the new criteria which is being floated, which is the input, process, and outcome attributes. 3 attributes. Right. So obviously, when you're doing an audit, we have to do all the audit for all the requirements. We have to have internal audits, and we have to have checks and posts. Because if you look at the item number 1, that is academic. Item number 2 can be administrative and academic. Item number 3 can be administrative. Item number 4 is administrative. 5, 6, 7 is academic. 8 is academic. 9 is academic and administrative both, because faculty has to be compensated and things like that. And number 10 is also academic and administrative. So this is the framework. And because of the limited time, my focus will be on trying to get across what are the nitty-gritties and what are the issues in the 5 areas which I have identified for the presentation, which is learning and teaching, extended curricular engagement, number 7, governance and administration, number 8, student outcomes, and number 10, sustainability outcomes and green initiatives. Because this number 10 is new to NAC substantively. And my position is this, that these 5 themselves account for over 60% of the 900 marks. Right? So these carry heavy weights. So these are the, what I'm saying, the first goals to shoot for. Hence, audit parameters, audit requirements for these 5 criteria has to be very stringent, very strong, and evidence has to be robust. That is the point of this particular slide. All right. Can we get the documents? I think the presentation will be shared with you at the end of the session, right? So that I think PSQ will take a call on that. All right. Anything else? No, nothing at this point of time apart from that. All right. So now let us move along. Now, I have taken the entire autonomous college sub-criteria for each of the 9 criteria. Can you see there are 9 criteria? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 criteria. I have made a sub-criteria listing of individual scores. Follow? And then I have put it in rank order as to what is most important, out of the highest scoring ones. I have taken the top 20. In the top 20, this is it. So for example, 8.4, when I'm showing to you first one, is going to come under student outcomes. Are we clear? Like that. So I've taken the top highest score. So if you notice, the top 20 is accounting for 535 out of 900, which is over 55%. Correct? So learning experience survey, pedagogical approach, all that. The numbers you see on the left are the criteria numbers. For example, if you look at 6.1, 6.2, 6.6, that is going to come under extended curricular engagements. And this is a new thing in NAC, and it's extremely critical, extremely vital. And this requires a fantastic mandate for documentation and audit at regular cycles. Okay, I'll come to that. So this is the top 20. The idea to show you this slide or to share this slide with you is that, see, when you're doing an audit, it's a very, very big task. And you may feel that why I should do everything, or why can't you do so much? Why can't I do very little? Why can't you do random? I all agree with that. But this particular statement or this particular table shows you the highest scoring marks. So unless you really audit these items thoroughly and improve progressively over the 3-year framework, your audit becomes meaningless. Are we clear? Am I going very fast now, or am I okay now?
Okay, sir.
All right.
Sir.
So
We are
Okay,
very
sir.
clear.
Okay, sir. Okay.
this
okay,
you will
sir.
maintain. We will share with you. And again, please be very clear. This is only assumption. What will happen to NAC, I do not know. But nevertheless, with what we are going ahead. And even otherwise, even if NAC does not go ahead, the items are very, very important in terms of our academic administrative processes. So an audit is required, as simple as that. All right. Then
Okay.
next part is that what is an audit? See, the question is that what is an audit? We always wonder. The audit is answered by a very classic framework called 5W and 2H. Right. So what is the task or the problem, or what is the item, or what is the criteria, or what is the process? Who are the key stakeholders involved in the process? Yeah. For example, suppose you look at, say, curriculum development. As an example, I'm giving you. So what is it? Curriculum development means enhancing the quality of teaching, learning, and content in your syllabus and getting expert. Who are the people involved in it? The board of studies, the faculty, your industry experts, right? Your alumni can also be involved. And in many cases, if you're going for ISO, you'll have what's called the PADCO committee, program advisory committees. So these are the people who will be involved. Where is the location? Where will it happen? It will happen in the institute. It can be virtual. It can be online. And when? Because audit requires a cyclical process. Normally, if you look at design of syllabus or design of curriculum, if you're autonomous, one expects a 3-year revision or a 2-year revision or a 4-year revision, depending on your courses. That's how when is established. Why are we doing this audit? What is the outcome? What are we seeking to do? So if you're looking at, say, curriculum design, you may say we want to redefine our outcome-based education. Want to redefine our outcome-based education. And who? Who means who will be impacted, who will do what they're supposed to do, and how is the process? How will you run the process, the entire process of curriculum redesign and development? And more importantly, how much? How much is in terms not only of cost, how much is the input, how much is the effort, what resources require, and how much are you setting targets at? If it's outcome-based education, you may say that my target will be 70%, 80%, whatever. So this is the framework. So in an audit, the inquiry must cover all these points. What have they done? Where have they done it? Have they documented it? Who are the stakeholders involved? Have they signed off, consulted, written? When was the process done? When was the process reported? When was documentation completed? Why was it taken? Was there any issues to be addressed, or was there the root cause analysis to be done? Who are the stakeholders being affected? How was the process conducted, and what was the result? This is basically the 5W2H method of inquiry and also for audit. So this is very, very important. And one can always skip through it. And if once you have this process in place, you can have a checkbox and checklist, and you can do the entire process. I will share with you a template which we have created for our own requirement. I'll share with you a template of the full audit template, how we do for institutions, to make you understand the depth of the audit and what the audit is going to cover. All right. So the first part, if you look at audit, what is the audit in a framework? I have given a list of A to S. The first part is academic outcome. You are very sure about it. Pass rate, fail rate, weak students, strong students, CGPA, rubrics and getting outcomes, successful outcomes, achievement of program outcome, and achievement of course outcomes, right? The audit also must be a continuity. It must be prospective and perspective. Prospective means it should also tell clearly this is where you are going wrong. Can we improve it in the next cycle? And because audit should not be a dead, it should not be a post-mortem. It should be actually, cutting a live body, checking, without a non-surgical thing, and then giving feedback so that they can improve. That's the process of audit. Audit is not normal audit like what they do. Audit is the first point of improvement, continual improvement as far as we are concerned, as far as ISO is concerned, even as NAC is concerned, IQAC is concerned. So it has to be prospective, means forward looking. Perspective means what has happened. Can we find out the problems, pluses and minuses, what we call the strength, weaknesses, opportunities and challenges, and what is the level of achievement. So ultimately you have to be prescriptive. An audit must give a prescription. Like a doctor, you will say, this is good, this is bad, BP is high, BP low, sugar is there, HbA1c is there. So can you please follow this diet to improve your scores, right? And unfortunately, fortunately, today, because of the digital requirement, digital presence has to be real time for institutions. And that has been a challenge. In most institutions, we have surveyed or we have, advised, website itself updation takes 3 to 4 months. Faculty is left 6 months ago, name is still hanging. No. Today, you have to be in real time, whether it is your LMS, whether it is your website, whether it is a social media engagement, has to be real time. And why audit has to check this particular digital presence is because there are timestamps. And in the new NAC, timestamps are extremely critical. Therefore, a good audit will point out the lacunae, will point out the gaps, and ensure that you offer a prescriptive solution. The third part is evidence. The biggest challenge we have found is that the quantity of evidence is substantive everywhere. Quantity of evidence, substantive everywhere. A lot of files, everything will be there, paper will be there. But the quality of the evidence is very, very poor. And what do you mean by quality of evidence? Quality of evidence in terms of reporting, in terms of creating report. And today you've got AI, you've got Claude, and you've got other things. They can give a very good quality reports with the data. You have data, lot of data you keep, but that's quantity. Quality of report, evidence, very, very poor. So you have to improve upon that. And audit must verify that data is collected, data is analyzed and reported as a quality report. The third part is, when you're doing this evidence processes, when people are creating evidence or when people are mapping evidence of their activity, is there a plan, do, check, act, PDCA, the principle of Deming, is it in place? And more often than not, I can tell you, I have probably visited 40 institutions. I have worked in about 5 institutions. Closing the loop is totally missing. So do all of you understand closing the loop, or shall I give you a slide description as to what it means?
Sir, can you please give the description, sir?
Closing the loop is very simple. Doctor gives you medicine. He gives you 5 medicines. Morning take one, evening take one, night take one. For 5 days, after 5 days, you don't take it. What will happen? You will fall sick. Therefore, I have the report, I have the data, I have identified, for example, who are the weak students or students who require extra support, then I have said, what is the outcome? How have you briefed them? Have you closed the report? Have you closed the loop? When you have found a problem, when you have found an analysis, when you have found these are the issues, how have you resolved the issues and how have you documented the issues and how have you documented or verified the improvements or what you need to do next? Right? It's a virtuous cycle, PDCA. So unless you act and unless you document and create evidence that we have closed the loop and we have done the full circle and we have moved along. Maybe what we did not work, so we are trying something else next time, which is also fine. That is what I'm saying by closing the loop. In many cases, I have seen you have got PO outcomes, CO outcome all mapped. What have we learned from the POC outcome? Which particular course outcome is not working very well? What is the reason behind it? Was the evaluation method wrong, or was the teacher wrong, or was the student didn't study? What was it? And how do you improve upon that? That is in many cases missing. And that is very, very important. And today, especially for the quantitative matrices in NAC, because it's going to be digital, your closing the loop reports are very, very critical, because doing something halfway is not the purpose here. Therefore, you have to close the loop. And feedback has to be cyclical. There are a lot of feedbacks you need to take. NAC encourages multiple feedbacks, stakeholder feedbacks at various levels. NAC is asking, right from the mission vision, right from the development of the curriculum, right from placement. You name any activity, they want feedback. And why do they want feedback? Because the whole philosophy now is stakeholder based. Education is no longer a teacher based thing, it's a stakeholder based thing. In short, the modern word, American word is it's customer based. So the customer has to be satisfied, whether it's faculty or not. So therefore, feedback has to be cyclical. And students, faculty, staff, recruiters, and other parties, especially you have to cover. And the factors which matter in audit is what was the frequency of this particular survey taken, what feedback taken, what was the quality of the questions asked, was it anonymous, did you have enough numbers, did you have a clarity in questions, or did you have closed loop questions, what was the quality of the instrument used, and was the report prepared, and what was the finding of the report, who saw the report, did the report go to the management, were suggestions given by IQAC, and finally closing the loop with action taken records. This is very, very critical. And please remember, student survey feedback has got the highest score in NAC, I think of 60 marks, if I remember rightly. This is where the audit also has to be very thorough. Next part of the audit or next part of documentation processes on NAC is granularity. What do you mean granularity? They say that the God lies in the details. See, today, earlier you can do SCR, you can do everything, you can finish it off. But because of AI, and other bots being used in the new NAC, you have to be very, very clear that the report is granular. Granular means you should be able to count the rice in the bowl like that. Very clearly, the system will have the ability. Suppose you say, I have got 500 pieces of rice in my packet. The AI will find out and count and give you. So you have to be sure that I have got 500 pieces of rice or data points, if I'm saying the data points. And that is called detailing. So the IQSC will have to say to what detail are we going to create evidence, and can we have that? For example, detailing means, suppose you're looking at, say, student support system. Is there an individual record for each student? Has each student been told about his strengths and weaknesses? Has each student's academic performance been tracked and meetings held with the mentor? That level of engagement we're talking about, right? And validation. Validation basically means that when you do the audit, or when the process is completed, are the right people signing it off? If the mentor has signed off, has the student also signed it off? Because it is a two-way exchange process for student record, for example. And has the HOD signed off? And if required, if you have a counselor or if you have a support system, has the person signed off? Because these are validations. It is a matter of people getting together and verifying and validating the data. Because one person can, do whatever nonsense. It doesn't work like that. So validation becomes critical. And the granularity is also expressed in the way you do the process. Have you got a standard operating policy which is clear? Is the execution mapped and is the execution documented as per requirement? And have you given evidence of outcomes? See, many cases I have seen an institute, for example, they do about 15, 20 FDPs and 15, 20 MDPs they have done in 1 year, which is very, very good. And each MDP had 30, 40 participants, right? They don't take feedback. In fact, the best practice, if you notice, if you are doing an Atal FDP, you will see the level of feedback they take and you will see the level of granularity they go for. They want you to upload everything, evidence, exercise, the whole lot. They take the entire process to next level. And that is the very, very important thing. And outcomes. If you're doing FDP, what were the outcomes? If you're doing a training program, what were the outcomes? So we have to go to that level of granularity, because that is what assures NAC that there is a robust quality system in place of continual improvement. Then, process execution is very, very important. We have academic processes, administrative processes. So, for example, here there's a program elements. You'll have multiple programs. For example, if it's an engineering program, you will have first 2 years common, then you will have specializations, right? Then you will have curriculum delivery processes, because each subject may require different delivery processes, different pedagogy processes. How are you managing that? And more importantly, during the process of program and curriculum, how is the student engaged and how is the student supported? That is a very, very important point, because student outcome also has got a very, very big score. Therefore, I'm drawing your attention to that. And there are sustainability embeds. In the remit of today's discussion, I will not deal with it in depth. Just to tell you that the sub-criteria will be shared, so you'll have an insight into that. And sustainability embeds is a relatively new thing for MAC. It's got a very big score again. Therefore, I would suggest please revisit this and make sure that this is also part of the administrative audit. It never was earlier, but today it's become a mandate going forward. And it is not only for NAC, even NBA now is looking sustainability, and also as a good practice, as a branding exercise for the institute, as a public relations exercise, as a corporate relations exercise, as to send to recruiters and to the larger world community. It is very important that you have a focus on sustainability and other issues, so that audit becomes a part of the process, and so that audit validates what you're doing to the world. It adds to brand value. And there are a lot of awards and a lot of certificates and a lot of competition and a lot of institutions who certify, that you can look into it. And depending on your budget, you can also have a green certification or a best institute certification. A lot of schemes are there available to you. Okay, so this is basically the audit. So A, C, D, F, I have created this matrix. Following this is important. Okay, but please remember, for every activity, closing the loop is the critical thing. Okay, now let us look at very briefly what are some parameters of an academic audit. Again, like I said, my point is not here to go in detail, but to tell you a perspective as to how these things are interrelated and why academic audit is equally loaded and difficult in many cases, and what are some strategies to deal with it. Okay, so just to looking at the old criteria, I'm looking at the old NAC criteria, LB criteria. I have not even bothered trying to change it. But for example, curricular aspect is number one. So what are the curricular aspect? Documentation audited, BOS minutes, and course revision records. Many times I have gone and done an audit where they have changed the syllabus from, say, for example, they had one in 21, one in 24, and one they're planning for 27. So 27 syllabus, they will show very, very clear to me. But when I ask them, is there a document or evidence to show what has changed over the 3 years? What have you removed? What have you added? Why have you done that? Whose advice have you taken? Can you explain to me the rationale of why you did it? They won't have it. Did you get what I'm saying, this point? Anybody confirm, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it there
Yes.
in an institution? No. So this is a challenge. I'm just trying to create a value to make sure that all of us go back with some insights into this. And OBE, outcome-based education, is now become a mandate. It is I will not personally. I am very much against it, because the way it is delivered is very, very poor. But that is my personal opinion. But in any case, PO, CO, PSO matrix attainment has to be done, and most institutions do it wrongly. In fact, I ran a webinar on this, and I think the next webinar in June will be on this only, where we'll talk of strategies how to improve your outcome-based measures. Okay, then very importantly, because it is extended curricular activity is very, very important in ACT now, add-on value-added courses become very, very important. Right? Similarly, for each item, I have given some indicative areas which you must audit in these 6 key areas I've identified. So I just stop for a minute, just go through this list, and if you don't understand any point, just raise and tell me, and I will try to explain it to you. And interestingly, this particular chart covers NBA also to a large extent. So if you just comply with the audit, even NBA also, you'll find it quite comfortable to manage at the program level and also at the institution level. The two levels of NBA mission vision, all those things you can manage very clearly with this. So if you're comfortable, let me know. I will move on.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Any clarification? Yes.
sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in the governance and leadership, FDP policy and implementation data, what is it mean, sir? FDP policy means
See,
what it
there are three
means?
things here: government, leadership, and management. FDP is faculty development policy.
What is meant by policy? Policy, FDP
So
policy means what?
I will tell you. Just give me the context of our institution, sir. I'll example better for you.
Pardon, sir?
Just give me the context of our institution. I will be able to. What is the institution, sir?
Institution means
Your institution, sir.
MVSR Engineering College. Sir.
Engineering college,
MVSR
correct?
Engineering College.
Correct. Engineering college, correct? So have you got a PG program or only UG program?
Both, sir, PG and UG.
Right.
Both.
Right. So in your HR plan or in your HR policy document, is there a requirement for faculty to undergo training?
Yes.
How many hours?
At least 15 days.
15 days, correct? Now, is
Yes.
it also being reflected in your appraisal?
Yes, sir.
Right. So now, at the end of the program, does the institute come back and tell you, "Arey Baba, this program you have done, should you do it next year or should you change it or do something else?" Have they asked you?
Very few times they ask, sir.
That is
Not
what
yet.
I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. The FDP policy is developing a faculty. And in fact, there's also a SDP requirement today, which is staff development policy.
Okay.
Nobody bothers about it.
Yes,
No?
yes.
Yeah, staff are very important. How
So
to
it is the
behave,
namesake they are doing, sir. Yeah, as
Huh?
you said, it the loop is not closed.
No, that's what I'm saying. So, and it's not just the policy, implementation data.
Yes, sir.
And I'll tell you why this is important. Just since you raised the point, FDP. See, this FDP policy implementation data reflects on multiple things. It will also say, suppose you're running program on research competency, your RIE, research innovation extension, is being affected by your training. Yes or no?
Yes, yes. Sir.
Your curriculum aspect is being affected by your training. So if you don't have a robust leadership and management development, you see, because you're also managers.
Yes.
A faculty is just not a faculty teaching coming out. You have to manage the classroom, manage institutional responsibilities, everything. So
Yes.
this is why I'm saying this particular thing is critical. And some item may be beyond your remit based on institution, like audited accounts and resource mobilization, they may not give access to you. But nevertheless, as per mandate of autonomous institutions, you must have a finance committee. See,
Yeah.
that we can go into detail. And that finance committee report, we can definitely do an audit internally. Right?
Correct.
So it goes on like that. So I hope you're enjoying this. This is a different
Yes,
game
sir.
we play.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So it is very detailed. So I'm just giving you a bird's eye view. And I'm sorry about my throat. I was traveling. I just come back. So bear with me. Okay, this is some indicative to NAC criteria. And I'll go further. Okay. Administrative audit. 5 pillars. Very simple. Governance, HR, finance, infrastructure, and ICT. And please understand, all this have a direct bearing on academics. Yes or no? Correct? So they are not separate. They are, two pieces in the same pod. So what does administrative audit basically quickly snapshot comes to? This is a snapshot. Again, I will leave this for you. Just see the 5 pillars and tell me if there is any clarification. I will clarify it. And before you ask, sir, what is APARS? I will send a chocolate bar if somebody can answer this for me. I know the
Could you
answer.
please come again, sir?
This in human resource management, on the right side, there is a service book and APARS. Service books, all of you know. What is
Yes, sir.
APARS? One chocolate. Anybody? Chitra, make sure you send a bar to them, chocolate bar. I'll sponsor it. Cadbury's bar.
Okay, sir, sure.
What is APAR?
Is it annual performance appraisal?
Who is that?
Subair.
Sudesh, is it?
Subair, sir.
Subesh, Chitra, chocolate bar.
Subair.
Yes, sir. Everything.
Okay, right. Okay, very good. So this is the one. Now, if you're comfortable, I can move ahead. Subair, okay. Right, Subair? You have, it's there in the chat, so no problem.
Thank you,
Shall I
sir.
go ahead? Next slide. Yes, no, maybe?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
thank you. So now let us see, before you do an audit, we have to prepare for the audit. See, because ultimately, whether you go for NAC or anything else, there'll be variations. So there's DVV preparation, you have to do committee data sensitization. So very quickly I'm giving you, because in part, in terms of best practices, this also is very, very important. Okay. So pre-audit, this is what we are suggesting to you. Okay. Again, I will let you read this because first the committee has to be formed. Like I said, if you're ISO 21001 compliant or you're planning to do that, then the audit committee is already in place for you. Because ISO demands internal auditors who are trained in the processes. So that is already there in the process, right? The scope, and you have to, when you're doing it, do it seriously. Give a 60-day notice so that people know. And people have no excuses in keeping documentation ready. Then you schedule, formalize it. It cannot be that one fine morning you decide to start an audit. It has to be a cyclical process. Assuming that you do once a year or once in 6 months, whatever a cycle is, follow a norm of time, notification, schedule, so that it is professional and it is well documented. Otherwise, what happens? And time stamped. Otherwise, the system will say, this is all backfitting. Today they have created a report which purportedly they did for in January. You'll be caught out. Therefore, it has to be specific and also create templates, self-assessment templates. SAT, self-assessment templates are very, very important. And that I'll give you examples to you at the end of the presentation. Okay. Then data collection, how will you do? And triangulation. Triangulation is very, very critical. What is triangulation? Triangulation means that verifying the data. So it is like when my wife says I made food today, I made sambar. How is the sambar, right? So those of your married husbands will say sambar is very nice, because you don't want to pick a fight. But my father is with me. He will say, "Oh, daughter-in-law, konchu uppu kammiya irukku." Right? Triangulation. So sometimes, the person giving you data, the auditor also may be in the same game. Therefore, we have to do primary, secondary, and cross verify from 3 independent data sources. We have to verify. Wherever possible, verify. See, because, people will have their own stories. If you're looking at, say, something like a course design, the faculty will have a story, the HOD will have a story, the student will have a story. So therefore, all data points must meet, or there must be some sort of, understanding. That's what I mean by triangulation. Triangulation is a standardized processes. It's possible to verify. Okay. Then, KPIs, key performance indices, mapping, metric format, all this you follow. Why we are telling it to keep it in the drive? So that there is a standard process. In many places I've seen, everybody's got everywhere in Gmail. No. It must be the right to access as per this thing, have a backup, have a central, most of us have got Gmail accounts, which have got huge thing, open a folder, manage the folder effectively and make it encrypted or locked so that need to know basis is given there. Otherwise, what happens if somebody leaves the institution, the entire process is lost. Therefore, audit is a critical process. So whatever you do, documentation, apart from institution documentation, audit reports, audit process, everything must be kept very securely. And that's the reason why we are saying it has to be in a drive. And document custodian. There must be a custodian. And if the custodian means a faculty or any person who is in charge, if he or she leaves, the person taking over must ensure that the transfer has been done completely and the person is comfortable. See, in cloud archive with hash for identification, again, data can be destroyed. So have a adequate digital security in place. This is what this exactly means. And normally for audit committee, we always say get an outside person. Get a person who is not wicked. Get a person who is positive. Get a person who knows the limitations and the pluses and minuses. More important, get a person who will encourage you to improve or who will find fault but give solutions. Never get a person, an expert, who will find fault. The whole world can find fault. Finding fault is the easiest. Providing solutions which are possible to be deployed is very, very important. That's the reason why I am saying an audit is not the process of finding fault. Audit is to give you prescriptions like medicine to improve for the next cycle. Okay. And obviously, audit committee, if you're say HOD mechanical or faculty in mechanical, you can't audit mechanical department. Like that's what I'm saying by it. And is it a requirement to have technical skills for technical subjects? Answer is no. Good English, good documentation, good understanding of the processes, and ability to correct the docs. No technical knowledge is required of the subject. Okay. This is one part of the pre-audit practices, which is very, very important to be in place. And is this the role of the audit committee to do it? No, IQAC must set this up effectively. Then evidence-based documentation. Now, what do you mean by that? It has to be criteria tagged. It has to be academic and administrative evidence. Very quickly, I will share with you some items. Is the list complete? Answer is no. Is the list a summary? Probably yes. Is the list indicative of key important points? Definitely yes. The first point. Now look at this. Again, I'll leave this with you. I will not go through this in detail. Most of you will know what it is. And CIA is not Central Intelligence Agency. It is continual assessment process, internal assessment processes. Right? And that is very, very important. If you look under teaching learning, you'll find CIA record. That is continual internal assessment records. And now earlier ISO did not have this. ISO is now very clear. Formative, summative, they want outcomes for both. And so do we in terms of NAG, in terms of other accreditation bodies, because many times we have found that, if there is internal assessment process in audit, we have found, suppose you're say in an MBA program, normally it is 50-50, 50 marks internal component, which is formative, and 50 marks summative. Summative means end of term examination, right? So in many cases, when you do the median scoring, suppose for the 50 internal component, median scoring is coming to 39.5, median scoring out of 50, and in the summative it's coming to 28.5, the difference of 10, which is not acceptable, at all. Therefore you have to be very, very careful. That's why your question paper record outcome becomes extremely critical. Just bear with me for any question about this particular slide? Anybody? I would specifically like to draw your attention to a couple of things which you may not be doing at this point of time, but has to be done, which is this. This we are seeing very poor evidence. LMS in many cases is not there. Unfortunately, today the time has come to go for LMS. If you're an institution of any moderate size, over 600, 400, whatever it is, you have to invest in an LMS, because LMS and ICT e-content is the new way forward. And especially when looking at academic banks of credits, and we're looking at mandate requirements in terms of online courses, SWAYAM and everything else, you will have a challenge. Therefore, this particular thing, I suggest all participants to carefully look at this. And this is a very, very important dynamics. in terms of accreditation. This is very, very important, right? And you know, the other thing, what we also sometimes miss in many cases is this. We don't keep this part at all in our this thing. Just as a matter of interest, somebody tell me, does your institution have what is called the audit of the question papers, summative question papers? Unless they're supplied by the university. If you're autonomous, I'm talking of specifically. So if they're supplied by the university, then you know, if you're non-affiliated,
Yes, sir. Yes.
huh?
So we have it, sir. We have question
How do
paper
you do it?
audit.
How do you do it?
Sir, the question papers will be taken up and we check for this Bloom taxonomy in that, and also the syllabus.
That is only the check. I'm talking of the audit. See, the question paper audit, what normally happens is, you know, in a practice, I'll talk of a practice in PSG, which was a good practice. In the MBA department, we used
Hello,
to-
sir. Sorry, sir.
No issues. I will tell you. So we
Okay.
have, we get from IIT Department of Management Studies in Chennai, a very senior professor would come, right? They would come for a day that the entire exam papers and the syllabus, they will do a match. And they'll give a report, coverage report they'll give. And they will also test the question paper in terms of strength of the paper. Too easy, too difficult. Then they will take random answer scripts, evaluated answer scripts from the bundle, and then evaluate and say this is the evaluation was too moderate or too strong or average, and they'll give suggestions for improvement. That happens? Anybody?
Sir, you just tell me, sir, how the question paper audit can be done, sir?
Question paper audit
Yeah.
is more like a post-mortem. What happens is when the examination is over for the semester, right? You'll get the expert. Don't get 10 experts. Suppose it is say mechanical engineering subject, no, ME, mechanical engineering B subject. You get some senior faculty from outside. Some very seasoned professor from outside, or even associate professor from outside who has got good experience of these things. So he will go to the controller of examination. He will sit there. He will have a copy of the syllabus which you have used to make the question paper. He will have the question paper, correct? Which has been answered by the students. Are you following so far?
Yes, sir.
Syllabus question paper and syllabus coverage will be mapped by him or her. Understand?
Okay.
No.
Okay, sir.
Right? That first part. Second part is that the question paper strength. Are the questions very difficult? Are the questions very easy? What are the challenges? Are there any mistakes in the question paper? And then the next part is randomly they will pick some valued, evaluated answer scripts they'll pick. From a bundle of 50, 60, they'll pick 5, 7, they will pick. And they will evaluate the paper against the question paper and see whether the evaluation is very difficult or very hard or very generous. Right? And then give a report. With suggestions for improvement. Yes, sir.
Sir, there is one issue will be there, sir. Suppose there are multiple evaluators are there in a particular subject.
Yes.
Then how does the decision can be taken?
The mistake is with the system. Have the evaluators, suppose you're saying that suppose there are 500 papers and there are 5 evaluators doing 100 each. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right. The biggest mistake is that I'll tell you what I suggest as a practice which ego of faculty does not permit, and that is very damaging to the audit. So what I will do, I will first sit, five of us will sit and take randomly from our bundle 5 papers, right?
Yeah.
And then I will evaluate it in pencil.
Okay.
Then we'll exchange it and see the comparison.
Okay.
And we have a common and standard.
So it has to follow the bell curve, normal distribution.
What do you think?
Mostly it never happens.
You have just closed the answer for me yourself. Excellent.
Yes. Sir, actually I was
Yes.
the controller of examination. Many times I used to get the complaint from the student that there is a problem with the evaluation.
Correct.
When the main exam was results were declared, that
Correct.
time they was failed, and when revaluation is done, they pass.
Correct. That is why I'm saying, unless there is a standardized answer key, which in many cases can be difficult. If it is standardized answer key where everything is in black and white, then the evaluator has no choice but to go by it. But when the evaluator has to use his judgment, in many cases, if it is a non-technical paper, like say communication, what do you do? Therefore, you have to have some rigor. There will be variation. I'm not saying there won't be variation. Within 1%, within 5%, right? If I am giving a student 65 out of 70, other person can give 70 or 60, can't give 50 or 80. And once that is done, statistically you can moderate, no sir. Statistically you can find out data and you can do the adjustments. But working in silo, 5 people for the subject, working in silo is very, very unfair on the students. You agree or disagree? Does it mean more work? Answer is yes. And this is the reason why control examination's role has completely changed now.
Yes,
And that's why control examination now is mandated to sit in the academic council. I don't know how it is at institution. Academic council, BS audit is there in any case. Academic council is the highest level. Control examination sits.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so this is what. Shall we go ahead?
Yes,
Or
sir.
is there any
Yes.
questions you got? Let me just check. Yeah, there's some chat here. Audio is low. Okay, I'll increase it. I thought audio is fine, but let me see. Audio is low. Okay. Audio settings. Is it better now? Audio? This is the best I can do, 80%. All right. So,
Yes, sir. Now it is okay, sir. I am able to hear you properly.
tell me before anyway.
Thank you very much, sir.
No, because I use normally 70 to 80%, and I have a new laptop. I'm also getting used to it.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
No, no worries, no worries. So this is one form. I know, and Chitra's this slides can be released, Chitra. Okay. No, so that slides will be shared, I think. So in any case, you will have a recording to see. But that way you don't have to see me, you can see the slides. So that's something you can look at. Okay. Now let us go to the next level of the engagement. Next level of engagement is again basically administrative. This was basically academic, administrative. Now the challenge with this again, let me just try to highlight something, not all, some things are highlight which you are aware of. You see, we discussed this just now. Can you see? Yeah. If somebody is allowing 15 days in the academic year training, it is fantastic. Normally, 30 hours is what we expect. So if it is more, that is good. And this is, and there are lot of challenges here. There is no transparency here at all. So be very, very careful. And here also, visiting faculty are using the visiting faculty in terms of documentation of their HR file must be similar to that of a full-time faculty. Resume, LinkedIn profile, background, context, payment, engagement, making sure engagement is embedded in the calendar. The entire process has to be done very, very clearly. Right? In fact, this is very, very important. And also I've seen in many cases, this particular strategic plan in most institutions are very, 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 very sketchy. In fact, if you go back, there is I think a webinar I did on creating an effective strategic plan for institutions. It is beyond IDP. No, IDP is an old term. Now they're saying ISP, Institutional Strategic Plan. So please also make sure that is in place. So this is some examples of what are the documentation or checklist points for audit in the administrative audit part. And again, this is all related to each other. So you cannot take it in isolation. They're all related to each other. And again, these are also important for ISO. All right. So, and when you look at, say, fire NOC, safety audit certificates, many places I have seen that they're not displayed. In many cases, when we go for audit, we go to the canteen, or we go to know where they're serving food. And most foods are, I know they're contracted out. FSSAI certificates are not there. And there is no health and hygiene certificate available. Right? So all these things you have to work at to make sure that you find the gaps and in the audit and suggest changes and deploy the changes. So next part we will go to will be the key gap identification. So we have done the audit. Now examples of how to find the gaps. For example, first is, you see, basically you will have a set of documents and data. Find out what is the evidence and what is the score. Is there a relationship? How do you build on the score? Use the benchmarks given in NI, for example. For example, if you're having a target, say, we want a 60% achievement of COPO. It can't be at 60. Suppose you got 55 last time. Then how are you going to make it 60? Is that what I want to see? What did you try? I want to see. That is what you have to identify the gap as. So there's a gap. Now after the gap, you have to also understand, was the gap critical, moderate, or minor? Why it is important? Because if it's critical, it will impact your scores directly. It will impact the institutional performance. So you have to also understand the severity. And this is done very, very well, especially in IQAC context in ISO. Then again, the 5 I technique. 5 I technique is basically a technique which you can see on the web. It's by Japanese. Why? If you ask the question 5 times, you will come to a answer, real answer. So what is the root cause analysis? It's called the 5 I method. Please look it up. Then you have to close the loop. Assign the owner, assign the timeline, assign the resources to remedy the situation, track with ATR, action taken report, and closure evidence. This is where we are lacking. And for example, certain severity I have given at the bottom. Suppose PhD faculty is below 55%, it is critical. If the audit says it is critical, you have to immediately start working on it. And suppose it is incomplete C attainment, it's moderate, and the frequency is high, it has to also be remedied. Suppose you have got inactive MOUs, no active report, the severity will be moderate. Why? Because the points will be less for it, but the impact will be high, so frequency also will be very high. So these are some examples of outcome reports which come out. And this is the process normally we follow. I'm not going to show this slide. This is something which you can share later, a timetable, so that you have a cyclical process of audit. And normally what happens, our academic year starts in July, normally by and large in most places. So April, May, we consolidate last year's data, and June, July start working on last year's data. And somewhere in the middle of the year, review that and prepare for the next cycle. A mid-year review is important, because without that audit, you will find that there will be a lot of variations which you can't address. That's the mid-year review. And always I find, especially students, when I ask them how to identify students who need more academic support, or who can work better independently, or they are very good academically. And they say, no, sir, at the end of the exam, see pass fail. On the contrary, you must be able to identify in your cohort A, B, C analysis. A means good, B means all right, can do well with encouragement, C means you have to help them. No, like I always say, A means they can help themselves, don't do. B means support them. C sometimes means God help them. But we are not gods, we will help them to the extent possible. That analysis has to be done not at the exam level, not at midterm. Before itself, when you give assessments and quizzes, you can find out and you can determine the risk at risk students. That has also that's why I'm saying you have to have one audit in the middle of the year, so that you can track the outcomes better. This is one of the best practices schedule which is being suggested. This is not written in stone. You have to modify it, but you must do the process of planning, scoping, data collection, internal review, field audits, physically going, creating reports, and closing your audit report and next cycle recommendations. This is the flow chart for this. Then just for the example, ATR report. So when you go for the next audit, what you will do, you will ask them, hey, last time you did audit, what has happened? Give us the report. Starting with that. So you might have closed the report. Have they opened the report and closed from their side? It's first you have to check and give status like this. Then normally, IQC, in my experience, is always some additional work given to senior faculty, and they struggle with it. Management must understand that institutions today require a dedicated team of people working on IQAC requirements. Because the documentation requirement, whether it's NR for ISHE or NB or NAC or any other requirement, in terms of grant, research, funding, giving data to all these competitive magazines and all this ranking is a huge challenge. So IQAC has to be a standalone department. It can't be an accessory function. And many institutions management, I'm sorry to say, it is spending money while we will manage. It's very poor because you're taking away good faculty and you're investing wrongly. So investing, in a good IQ as a standalone department, you see that. And if you visit institutions, which are in the top NRF ranking and all, you will see they have got a dedicated, solid IQAC teams. There's one here I'm from Coimbatore, GRG institutions, the entire thing, the ranking is very good. They're excellent college they've got, and they're ranking in arts and science colleges in the top 1 or 2 or 10, whatever it is. You should see the IQAC department. And that is where the benchmarks are. So any audit you have to have. And monthly reports are important from IQAC. Why? Because when you audit, you must find what IQAC is doing. And at the end of the day, you see IQAC does nothing. It collects data and sits on it. And they keep on asking for same data. Faculty says waste of time. They keep on asking same data. Therefore, IQAC leadership and IQAC structuring is an essence. If IQAC structuring is very well made and processes are very well laid out, audit is just a cakewalk. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. So that's the reason why I'm putting it here. And then you got level strategies. Like what do we do for improving an NAC scores? So 400, 551, 750. Some examples I've given here as to what recommendations can be. So post-audit action planning and monitoring becomes critical. And most academic administrative audits will stop at the audit, but the fun begins after the effective audit is over. And that is the key strategy of audit. That how can we monitor and escalate the situation? How can we solve our issues? And what do we need to create the gap? Gap analysis, how do we create the gap to get a higher score? This is the post-audit action planning model. Now, I'll quickly share with you some challenges which we have got. For example, look at a curricular aspect. This is suppose it's outcome-based curriculum. Is the mission POC or map? Is the deployment as per NHUQF? You see, NHUQF is National Higher Education Qualification Framework. It has got various levels for UG, PG. They have given a set of outcomes, graduate outcomes, attributes, and GAs. Are you aware of it? Are you going to incorporate this into your outcome-based education pattern? Very, very important. That is a different discussion and a seminar, but I'm just drawing attention to you. Stakeholder participation, frequency, quality, count, and ATR loop closing. Right? Curriculum flexibility. You are giving choice-based credit system. It is not choice-based credit system in my experience. This FBCS. What is FBCS? Faculty-based credit system, not choice-based credit system. So that is a challenge, and value-added courses have become extremely important, especially in the extracurricular aspect of the new proposed NAC. Okay, WACS comes. And right shift. You have to go from knowledge, skill to abilities. You have to shift it. Knowledge is now secondary. Skills, ability have become primary. So your audit should also, when you do curriculum audit, when you do the pedagogy audit, when you do course audit, make sure you do these things. And practical industry focus is something called ABCD learning: activity, blended, collaborative, directed, and experiential learning elements have to increase in your design. And it goes on like this. So this is going to be shared with you some examples. I can keep on filling it, but I'm just giving you a template so that you can work on it and create your own Gita. The Bhagavad Gita was for Arjuna. You make your own Gita. Right? So this is again, and if you go to curriculum management, 3 measures we have taken, and I've given you documentary evidence. What is the evidence you need to have as an example? Is this complete? Answer is no. Is it indicative? Yes. Is it bare minimum? Definitely yes. Can this go to next level? 100% yes. Right. So please go through this documentation after the presentation, and then let me know what you require or what is needed. We can help you with that. But I'm just sharing this with you very quickly, and I'm also trying to tell you that this 1.8 is the max sub criteria. So criteria one has got 8 units. Are we clear? 1, 2, 3, 4. All 8 units have got marks. For that, documentation and audit is required item by item. This is an indicative sample I've given you, what you need to check. Right? And what are some documentation for criteria 1 of the new NAC. Right? Then I told you criteria 5 is very, very important. Teacher learning evaluation, highest load, and teaching the criteria 5 has got 7 subunits. So what do you do? Pedagogical approach. Are you using activity-based learning, blended learning, collaborative learning? Evidence is there. Are you using technology? Evidence has to be created for that. Learning management system. What is the deployment? What is the usage rate? What are the feedbacks? What are the reports being generated? Reports being generated and shared. Right? Assessment components, appropriate Bloom tools. When using a Bloom terminology, please understand in the scale of terminology, there are also effective assessment tools. That map is very, very important. It's a 5-scale map. It's available online. You can check it. So now you cannot use for applying understanding. You can't use one tool which for applying you can't use the same tool. So there are also specific tools to be used, which most people don't seem to understand. So therefore, no, I know I've seen that one question paper they put all the 5, 6 outcomes, and we know that the question cannot really measure it. So either the question has to be reframed or some other tool has to be used. Okay, and learning diversity, I'm talking of learning diversity in terms of different skills of learning within a cohort. Early identifying, mentoring and action taking report, you must measure that. And academic grievance redressal, I have seen 3 reports. We have grievances. No reported. It cannot be 0. You're dealing with human beings here. You're dealing with people here. It cannot be 0. Therefore, it means either you are so perfect, you're God, or you're hiding something. When I see the academic grievance redressal document as 0, I doubt the entire transparency of the process. So therefore, it is expected that you'll have complaints. People will complain, boss. That's the nature of human being. Therefore, academic process, you're dealing with young blood, you're dealing with hormones, you're dealing with lots of issues and ego. So it can't be 0. You have to have some process in place where you map some. Yeah, you have to, definitely has to be there. And against academic calendar, it is not that they are seeing a calendar. They are saying that if things went wrong or if things change, for example, election happened, rain happened, this happened, that happened, could you modify the calendar in time appropriately and ensure that the outcomes remain as you processed it. This is one part of the audit also which is evaluated. Coming to again to this is a teacher learning evaluation. Some measures I've given you here again just to follow through. Please see it when this presentation with you. Then you've got again criteria. I have not done this. This is very, very, very important. C6 is very, very critical, and there is a detailed discussion earlier. I've just taken one example of value addition, and I'll show you what value addition really pertains to. Okay. This is the value addition process. All right. Now, so what is the value education focusing on? Have you got a policy in place? What are the number of courses you're giving credit and non-credit? Are they looking at Indian knowledge system, ethics and SWAYAM? Are they looking at number of lectures and seminars? What is the evidence for that they're creating? What are the uploads you have to give? And this is from NAC, from the NAC upload document. What new NAC, what it upload, the entire thing I captured here. So now you know, if you see this map for value education as an item, which is very, very important, 6.4, which is a new element in terms of NAC. This is the entire evidence you have to create. Now from there, working back towards an audit becomes very much easier. Are you clear? Yes or no? It's confusing?
No, sir. No.
Yeah. I mean, is it too much work? Yes. Is it different thinking? Yes. But this is the template we have got. And this, once you have this outcomes for NAC, audit is much more easier. And again, lecture. not just, have attendance, have geotag video, get the lecturer's feedback, get the participants' feedback, and, have some sound-based video bites so that you create a real-time evidence. That is where it counts. The more you populate evidence with, time-stamped evidence, the better it is for the outcome for NAC and also in terms of audit, because it validates the process in place. So number 7, again, I have given you one more example of governance, what all you have to check here. Okay, again, grievance handling can't be zero. Don't tell me staff have no grievance, faculty have no grievance. It has to be managed. This is again one more example of what all things you need to verify and check in a audit for C7 governance criteria in the new NAC. So this is all the outlines I've given. Again, measure evidence, same thing for I've given for infrastructure, just to share with you. And this is what you need to measure as an indicative example. And then this is the student support and progression, very, very important criteria, which is huge marks. Some assessment areas are given here, 4 areas, and then again, what are the evidence required are given here. I'm sorry, I'm rushing through this, primarily because I will be sharing this documentation with you. And many of you will know exactly what to do, so I'm not very worried about it. Nevertheless, just as a recap, I have given you some indications to what documents you look for as a checklist. So this can be a quick checklist for you. Then the other criteria, governance, leadership, and management. Same thing I've done for that. Same documentation process I've given here. And best practices also have given you some ideas about best practices, because this is important for the last criteria, criteria 11, which is institutional distinction. So that also is happening. So this is the process. Now there are some new criteria. I'm again skipping through these things. Collaborative global engagement, you have to focus on that. Audit has to also understand this, because this is where you're looking at internationalization or nationalization and looking at exchanges, because now this is very big, collaboration is very big. So NAC is expecting these things in the process. So if you don't have it, set it up, and of course it has to be audited. Similarly, some examples of audit. If you have got this global engagement, what is the audit becomes critical. Okay, so this is one level of collaborative. The other thing is skill development, entrepreneurship, very, very, very important. Right? I'm sorry I'm hurrying through, but please be assured you will have a PDF or a PowerPoint of this available to you. All those who have signed on today will have a copy of this available courtesy of PSQ. Okay. Skill development, entrepreneurship is become extremely critical. And entrepreneurship, please understand, also means entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is the entrepreneurial attitude. So that's what has to be created in all programs today. And these are some examples of what is being assessed in terms of outcomes. And again, what are the documentation required indicatively to substantiate this particular outcome, right? Again, digital learning technology become very, very critical. Again, same philosophy, digital learning is the way forward. We are all very sure quality and how we deliver is a different issue, but this is what they're looking forward, looking ahead. Prospective, this is what. Again, for digital learning, the evidence of some data evidence and what I'm measuring is what is given in this particular slide to you. All right. And IQAC is the Center for Accreditation. They coordinate everything. Okay, this is their role. Again, this is very, very important. Please brief your IQAC, and if your IQAC in charge, also please look at it and see how it will create a timetable or a schedule, so that when the auditors come, they will understand that IQAC is in the forefront of quality initiatives, and they are also delivering their part, because quality assurance system is also very, very important part of the NAC value system and NAC score. Okay, and these are some metrics which you have to measure by and large. Is it complete? No. But core measures, pass percentage, budget, student ratio profile, IQAC meetings, publications, best practice documentation, LMS and placement study high rate is something which most accreditation agencies would like you to map and show progress and show data as to what's happening in this area in terms of improvement. All right. Then documentation, again, I have discussed this in detail. I'm not going to do it now. Please do go through it. Okay. And finally, what I'm saying that this evidence of culture is very, very important. Culture of evidence is very, very important. It has to be an inclusive audit. Student voice is mandatory. IQAC is a quality engine. DVV first mindset. I must avoid all these. No, you should come to me. That's the mindset. And OB, outcome-based integration, is very, very critical. Don't assume it, map it and deliver it. And research culture has become all the more important. So there are 10 key points I give in terms of what is expected in terms of quality and what is the audit to do. This is the overall focus. Okay. Now, I will stop here and I will take questions and I'll just quickly go through. So I call it the Bible. The Bible is very simple. The Bible is that course plan, course document, course file management, and every institution I find it very, very poor. So the course file management has got 4 processes: PDSA: plan, do, study, act. So I've taken this model and I've given you detailed as to what has to be done. This is a pre-term audit. Before the term starts, this is the audit of the course file. When the term is going on, this is the audit of the course file. And when term finishes, this is audit of the course file. Only when all the changes are done and documented is the course file complete. There is an exhaustive table of contents available. I have found in most institutions I've been, like I said, quite a few have been as advisors for NAC and B and also for academic audit. Course files are just paperwork with no ATR, no closure of loop, nothing. Please do go through this particular chart I've given you and figure out a way of deploying it at an institution. And it's very, very important. And post-close report, even student feedback also we have to take, which is normally taken, that also becomes a part of the course file. All right. So this is it. And before I open up for question and answers, I would like to share with you that the next free webinar by PSQ is on 25th of June and is beyond blooms, because I'm telling you the new NHQF goes beyond blooms. So we must also look at things beyond blooms. And so we'll be discussing that in the new paradigm, and we'll take real case examples, and we'll also say what is possible to be used and how you can enhance or improve your outcome-based education, whether you're affiliated and non-autonomous, whether you're autonomous affiliated, whether you're an independent institution, AICTE approved, whether you're university, all of this can be deployed at any level. Yeah. Because in most cases, what happens is that if you're non-affiliated and if you're affiliated and non-autonomous, the summative outcomes you don't get from the university. So you have to create your own internal processes to validate it. That's the reason why we are trying to talk this. And this is the last seminar probably for this academic year in June. And I would suggest you can definitely look at it and attend to it. And that is how I would thank you for your patience. I'm stopping the share now, and I will try to answer some questions as far as possible. Please feel free. The floor is open. Chitra, make sure that you send a PDF to them.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm here available. Please shoot.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. First of all.
Yes, Mr. Gajanana. Yes.
Yes, sir. I am a professor mechanical engineering and also IQAC coordinator. Worked as a controller of examination earlier.
Sir, my first of all, my sympathies and blessings to you. Most difficult job on earth. No.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, currently we are in a confused state, sir. All autonomous colleges are very confused state. What is to be done? What data to be collected? How to be proceed for the NAC preparation? Totally in a confused state for the NAC preparation because.
Oh, correct. So I've given you some indications here. I've given you quite a few things here.
Yes, sir.
So there is a table I've given also. That the criteria tables I've given. So what I will do, that this particular presentation will give you a lot of insights.
Yes, sir. Sir, can we take this as a basis for preparation, sir?
See, my philosophy is very simple. I will do things which can shoot at 5 targets.
Okay.
So suppose tomorrow NAC may change, you look for or look for some other this thing, or look for ISO.
Only thing is the new clothes are to be wear. That's it.
New clothes have to be worn, but you cut it in such a way that it will be you can go from S to double XL, triple XL. It can become a kurta or a shirt or a T-shirt. So I would rather have a big kurta which I can cut.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Making a T-shirt into kurta is not possible. Yes, Lakshmi Prabha. Yes, ma'am. Lakshmi Prabha raised her hand. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, good morning, sir. So, I am myself Dr. Shanti from Tangavalli Engineering College.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, this is the first time we are going for NAC accreditation, sir. So, what are the minimum criteria as per new revision of NAC scheme? We have to satisfy.
We will not know. We do not know. That's why the recommendation has been you start preparing SSR based on the old NAC 7 principle is what we are suggesting. We don't know. Seriously, we don't
So,
know.
more than 1 year we are waiting, sir, to submit application.
I told you, no, currently the education minister is in a lot of trouble. He's got meat issues, he has got CBSE issues. So I don't, and then the bill has been passed. What will they do? Structuring, we don't know. So it is a, even the killing cannot pick up the card and tell what's going to happen. So I have no knowledge about this. All I can go on what has been proposed. And there, and why I am saying it is still relevant, even the new NAC 10 standard criteria is relevant because some point of time they have to revolve on that only because it is a straightforward EPFM model, input, process, output, that they will follow. That we are so much, so far we are clear. So the item by item, we can work out the details and give it, not a problem. There is no harm in maintaining data and maintaining that digital part and evidence part as per what we know. There is no harm because that is where the robustness comes in. And if you don't do that, then what happens is that, suppose you're going to file, you don't have historical data.
Okay, sir.
When you're preparing for NAC, make sure that you start with 24, 25, see the correction, 25, 20, see the correction, 20, 20, 27, you have to really make sure that you have the numbers and you have the data correctly. And today, if you don't have timestamp digital data, you are in trouble. So please make sure that your management understands that Facebook and website is not some student working. It has to be.
Sir, shall I prepare the SSI? Shall I prepare SSR?
Prepare.
Based on the previous format?
What's the harm? Prepare and keep now. What's the harm? What's the harm? Evidence is the same. Excel sheets are the same. You have to create evidence. That's all. No. That's why I'm saying all faculty in my institution, all faculty have got the GPS camera inbuilt. Take some and dump it there. No. And we have a marketing team to pick up and create a nice thing and put it in the LinkedIn and Facebook and all this. We keep on updating regularly. Because Facebook and LinkedIn and other portals have a timestamp which you can't cheat. Correct?
Okay,
no?
sir.
I mean, if you put a entry today, you can't change the date tomorrow, can you? Personally, also you cannot. That's the reason why we are saying that digital documentation and also web is critical. So that's why when you're putting in a web, you put Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, click and nothing happens. So they must all be, singing the same tune and singing the same tune as soon as possible in real time. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The previous session, people don't know. I don't know. I'm not authorized to deal with that. TMU need to. Today's PPT, yes, we are releasing, and I think that will follow after the feedback. I think Chitra is very clear about it. Unless you give feedback, you don't get PPT. So it's your call. Am I right, Chitra?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Okay. Any more questions for me? Or shall I take my bus to Pondicherry at 12:30? Dr. Sudhakar and everybody, thank you very much for your lovely comments. Yeah. And I hope you have a peaceful summer break when you are assuming you have a break. And like Professor was saying, may Mr. Pradhan and may the Ministry of Education and HRD, whatever it is, decide on the fate of NAC and AICT and UGC and give us a solution. So that is great. We withhold it breath, But work will continue, and good luck to you. And also, research is becoming challenging. So don't look at theory-based research. Look at application-based research. Work with the industry, create industry problem solutions, and write more case studies. I think case studies is very, very critical. I know, and why I'm saying this from medicine. Medicine has got a lot of case studies. Med also have got case studies, but I would suggest to you that from your own technical perspective, mechanical, civil, whatever it is, case study with the industry is very, very important. So please collaborate and write case studies. They will have greater value, especially in the world of digital and AI. Okay. Anything else? Chitra ji?
Yes, sir.
So, may I thank all the participants today for sparing the valuable time and listening to this detailed but very fast presentation. My apologies. It is, like I said, it is a 2-day workshop. We'll just give you a teaser. PowerPoints will be sent in PDF form to all those who do feedback form. And I'm not saying the feedback form right or wrong. It's completely up to you. Okay. So all that is there. Right? So thank you again. Anything else, Lakshmi Property?
Sir, I would like to give much thanks to you, sir. I'm eagerly waiting to attend the next seminar.
Oh, very good.
Sir, actually, I am a new beginner after the break. I'm from Chennai.
Right.
ஓகே சார் தங்கவேல் இன்ஜினியரிங் காலேஜ் ஸோ தட் எனக்கு இது ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா இருந்துச்சு இன் பிட்வீன் யூ ஹேட் மென்ஷன் சம் தமிழ் வேர்ட் லைக் சாம்பார் இட்லி ஸோ ஐ காட் அஸ்டானிஷ் தட் சம்திங்
பொன்னாட்டி குழந்தைக்கார தமிழ்.
ஆமா சார் ஓகே சார் ஓகே சார் கோ ஹெட் சார் தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச் சார்.
So thank you again, everybody. And Chitra, I am leaving. You can do the honors.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for an excellent presentation. Dear participants, thank you for your support and active participation. Now we are sharing the screen with a flyer of upcoming complimentary webinar in the month of June. And the topic is Beyond Bloom's Align the Assessment Outcome Matrix in the New Paradigm. So participants can register the slots with the link in chat box. And for the present session, we have shared the feedback form for e-certificate in chat box. Thank you all. Have a nice day. Penyulam.